What is going on, guys? Big Rye coming at you with the NHL betting market preview for, I believe it's October the 26th today. We have 7 games on tap today. So I figured I'd go through the betting market. This is just a preview of what the Fat Guy and I do on the YouTube membership. So it's $5 a month. We have a Discord, and then we do all these betting market videos as well as other betting type videos just to help you guys get a little sharper, a little better with your sports betting. But I'm just rambling on. If you guys find this interesting, I definitely recommend signing up for that. It's only $5 a month and lots of great information that we provide there. But let's get into this betting market for Calgary, New Jersey. New Jersey open at -1.5 on the puck line. They also have 3,719 bets so far on this game. Not a lot, but we've been seeing more bets on the NHL this year than we have any other year. So they open -1.5 at +205. The line hasn't really changed that much. It has for Calgary, who's gone down from +1.5 down to -232. Calgary has received 53% of spread bets. And as we see here, anytime the road team has received 53% or more of spread percentage of bets, we have 507 games where we sample this. And unfortunately, we see it is actually a losing play on either side. So we can't take any information from when the road team has 53% or more spread bets. Unfortunately, that's just not an indicator that tells us a winning play. As you guys can see here, it's actually a losing play. So over the long term, I would have lost, about 7%, 8% of my bankroll betting on road teams with 53% or more. And as we can see here, also betting 47% or less on the home side would be -33 units or -23 units on closing lines. So not a lot of plays there. Well, no plays for sure. It'd be a losing play on both sides. Let's move on to the percentage of money and see if there's any indicators there for Calgary, New Jersey. So anytime the road team has received 4% or less of the money, we have 69 game sample in 1,036 games. And unfortunately for this one as well, it's also been a negative expected value play over the 69 game sample. So no value on the road team if they have 4% or less, and no value on the home team historically, at least in this last 1,000 so games, when they have 96% or more of the money on the home side. On to the OU, where we do see our first bit of value here. 48% of bets or less on the over has been an indicator to take the over, albeit a very small one. Only 1.6 units, 4.8 units on opening and closing lines respectively. Over 187 game sample. So this is a healthy sample, 187 games. I guess this 4.8% kind of makes it worth it, or 4.8 units in this case. If I saw this is pretty much break even. It's just you're not really gaining a lot, so I wouldn't be searching out these opportunities. But at the same time, it shows here in a 187 game sample, it has been a positive play to take the over anytime there is 48% or less spread bet or OU bets. And then on to the OU percentage of money. We see here only a sample size of 6 games. So this doesn't happen very often where the over has 93% or more of the money. We can see it's been a negative expected value play on 3 of these 4 markets. The only one where it has been positive is on closing lines. And we can see here it's been 3 and 3, so it's 500 in this 6 game sample. But we do have this juice of +107. So that's something else you want to keep in mind when making these kind of plays, is that if this hits at 50%, like 6 units, like a 6 game sample is just not enough to know. But let's say this was 600 and this was 300 and 300. This +107 juice possibly makes this a positive expected play just based off of how this is worked out here with this 0.1 units. But taking everything into consideration, a 6 game sample for me just isn't enough. We do get some extremes where it might be worth it, but this is one of those ones where 6 game sample, 3 and 3, you really can't take too much from it. Onto the money line percentage of bets. We have 47% of bets on the road team, which is Calgary in this case, 53% of bets on the New Jersey Devils. And we could see here in a 434 game sample, it's actually a negative expected value play. Either way you slice it, So we can skip over this money line percentage of bets as this 47-53 split. However, on the money line percentage of money, we can see here the home team, which is New Jersey in this case, 89% of the money or more on the home team has been a winning play, 154 game sample. And we can see here 19 units and 17 units respectively. So if you just want to put some emphasis onto the money line percentage of money, this would be one of those plays that you would consider making. This has been at least the strongest out of all of these different markets. But it is conflicting when you see these percentage of bets here is negative. So I would not bet this myself personally, but I just want to display this information to you guys so you can get an idea of what's been a good play, what's been a bad play historically. There's nothing that we can take from this that's going to say, oh, you're guaranteed to make money betting this side or not betting this side. But I guess you are more likely to make money not betting sides to start with. But I just wanted to give you guys kind of an indication on what the sports betting market has been over this last 1,000 games or so, and how it would have been a successful kind of strategy to take depending on what the percentage of bets or percentage of money is. So we've gone in depth on this one, so I'm going to try to be a little bit quicker on the next few games. So on to game number 1038. 4,678 bets between Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh, 62% on the road Tampa Bay Lightning here. And we could see for this percentage of bets, 62-38 for road versus home. It's been a negative expected value play on both sides. So on to the spread percentage of money, 3% or less on the road team, which is Tampa, has been a losing play on opening lines, but we can see a slight winning play on closing lines. And another thing you'll notice here is that we do have positive units on both sides of this play. So for me, what that indicates is that more times than not, this positive play has worked out compared to the negative play. And what I mean by that is taking the team that's got minus 1.5 goals and positive juice, so Tampa Bay Lightning plus 181, it just shows me that that's been a winning play on both sides of these, where there's 3% or less on the road side or 97% or more on the home side. So if anything, like none of these other markets indicate making a play. But if you do have positive units on both sides, what I've noticed is that that's when you want to take a team like the Tampa Bay Lightning at the plus 181. But because it's only one of the four markets that's saying that, I'm not going to make a play personally. But if you do see positive units on both sides of these spread numbers, you'll know why. On to the OU percentage of bets, 47% on the over. We can see very slight positive play on opening line percentages and a positive play on closing line percentages. So this OU percentage of bets, very similar to the last one, if not the very close to being that. Not quite, but regardless, small positive play on the over. But we can see here on the OU percentage of money on the over, it's actually been quite the losing play, 14 and 17 units respectively, a negative expected value. So we do have conflicting data here, two markets pointing towards slight value on the over, and then one of these four markets pointing to slight value on the under. Anytime 83% or more of the money on the under has been a successful play on closing lines, but a pretty much break even or negative expected value play on opening lines. And then for percentage of bets here, we have Tampa Bay, 35% of bets, Pittsburgh, 65% of bets on the money line. And we can see here that these 65% or more bets for the home team has been a slight winning play for home teams over 151 game sample. But we can see down here with 45% or less of the money on the home side, which is Pittsburgh in this case, it has been a big time losing play, minus 29 units and minus 19 units. So unfortunately here we have conflicting data where we do see value on the home team as far as percent of bets on the money line, but a big losing play on percentage of money on the money line. So this is also something that you'd have to take into consideration if you wanted to make a play here. What you value more. On to game 1039, which is between Vegas and Colorado. So we'll start off with the spread. Vegas minus 1.5 plus 136. They move down to plus 133. Unfortunately, when it's a 50-50 spread percentage bet, there's just nothing that I can take from it. We could see here different numbers in the samples. So this is just kind of messing with the calculations I have. So we can just ignore this 50-50 market. So onto the spread percentage of money. It's a 397 split, which might have been the same as the last one. And we can see here the positive play on both sides. So just nothing, there's no indicators here saying to make a play on the puck line. So onto the OU, which the over has 59% of bets and 48% of the money. This is one of the first ones where we see 3 positive indicators, really 2 positive indicators, and one essentially break even, and then we have the one losing play here for the under. So 41% or less of bets on the under is a nice indicator to jump on the under. However, with 52% or more of the money on the under, there's just not enough information here to say, hey, this has been a strong play historically. So on to the money line percentage of bets. Vegas, the road team, has 18% of bets, only 1% of the money. And what we can see here is the money line percentage of bets down here, 82% of bets, 3.7 units, 3.4 units respectively. So it has been nice on both sides. And unfortunately, we have positive units down here. I don't think that should be like that. So we could just skip over that information. And the reason why that is because this 100% here, when there is no data put in, unfortunately, it's counting that up as well as a positive play. So we could just ignore this for now. It's just because of this sample, it's how it's worked out. So on to the next game, which is 10:40. And that is a game between the San Jose Sharks and the Nashville Predators. Preds open -1.5, plus 172. They're currently at plus 173. They've received 45% of puck line bets, but only 1% of the money on the puck line. And as we can see here, it's been a negative expected value play based on the percentage of bets when it's 55% or more on the road side, 45% or less on the home side. It's been a negative play both ways. But what we can see here is anytime the road team has received a 99% or more of the money, they are 5-5 against the spread, but it is for positive units. So anytime you see a lot of money on this side, especially if it's a positive one, which in this case it's not, it's this negative scenario. But if you do see that positive with lots of money on the road side, then it has been a good play in a very small sample, though, of 10 games. Onto the OU. The OU's at 6. It's moved down on the under from -123 down to -118. Only 28% of bets have been placed on the under. 43% of the money has been placed on the under. And we can see here this 72-28 split on the OU has been a negative expected value play no matter which side you take in a healthy sample of 156 games. However, though, anytime there's 57% or more of the money on the over, we have 217 games where we see this. It has been a nice positive play here of 18 units and 20 units on opening and closing lines. So anytime you can see 57% or more of the money on the over, it is a nice indicator to take the over. Onto the percentage of bets here, where we can see this 66-34 split between the road and home side has actually been a negative play on both sides. So let's take a look at the money line percentage, and I do see anytime the home team has received 79% or more of the money, they have won 28 and 24 units respectively on opening and closing lines in a sample of 286 games. So that would be a nice play if you could see a lot of percentage money. In this case, 79% or more on the home team. It has been a nice play on the money line. On to game 1041. We have 3 games remaining for this market video. And this next one is Minnesota at the Vancouver Canucks. If I'm not mistaken, the first home game for the Vancouver Canucks. They have opened plus 1.5 at home, -227. Bet up just a point to -228. They've only received 36% of spread bets, but they have received 94% of the spread money. And as we can see, the only positive indicator here would be the opening line for the road team that has received 6% of bets or less, which is the Minnesota Wild. in this example, 0.2 units. So not much to write home about. So we can see pretty much negative expected value on either side based off this spread percent of bets and spread percentage of money. So onto the OU, we can see here 70% of bets or more on the over has been a losing play. We do see one positive play here on the under. 30% of bets or less on the under on closing lines has actually been a slight winning play, but not enough to really want to rush to the book and make a bet. We can see here, this is one of those examples where we do have 5 games in the last 1,035 or so, 1,036 games, where we unfortunately just didn't receive any information on the OU percentage of money, and that's how we got that wonky number earlier with the money line percentage of money, just because these 5 games are being taken into consideration. So I'm going to have to clean up my sheet and get rid of those examples, but that's something that I can do. I wouldn't really take any information from this. It's just not like it is a strong indicator where we could see there hasn't been a loss yet on the under in these scenarios, but I still don't think that's a good enough a reason to take the under just because it's just lost information. On to the money line percentage of money. So for percentage of bets, we can see that there is a slight winning play here on the percentage of bets. When the home team has received 35% or less of the bets, it has been a slight winning play. But we can see down here 13% of the money on the Vancouver Canucks, the home team in this scenario, -5 and -4 units respectively on opening and closing lines. So really the only value here that we can see is percentage of bets on the home side when there's 35% or less. On to the second last game of the night between the Winnipeg Jets and the Anaheim Ducks. And we can see here 42% of spread bets on Winnipeg, 18% of spread money on Winnipeg. And the only winning play here is the 58% or more spread bets on the home side, where we can see 4.3 and 7.6 units respectively. So those are the only 2 winning plays as far as percentage of bets and percentage of money on the puck line. So onto the OU percentage of bets for this game, where we can see 17% of bets or less on the under has been a slight winning play on the under in a 62-game sample. So keep your eye out on that. The only thing I'd say is that this 50.82, 51.61, just keep an eye on the juice, because technically this juice of -107 is actually a losing play for both of these options. Like if we just take a look down here, 107 divided by 207, 51.6. So that's essentially break even on this closing line, how it's done, 32 and 30. So even 2 games above 500 in a 62-game sample at -107, you're just going to break even. So it just shows you that this juice is very important to look at before you make any of these plays. We can skip over the OU percentage of money because we don't have any information. And then onto the money line, where we do see, I think this is the first indicator here where we see 4 positive plays on the home side. So the Anaheim Ducks, they've also had the line move in favor of them from +125 down to +113. So unfortunately for you and I, we would get essentially we're getting the worst of the price here at +113. If you were able to get it at +125, congrats. And with these indicators, 39% or less of bets on the home side, which is Anaheim, and 59% or more of the money on the home side, which is Anaheim, has been a winning play on all 4 of our betting markets, both on opening and closing lines. So this is one of those first games where I do see 4 positive indicators. It doesn't mean that we're going to, guaranteed to make money over the long term moving forward, but at least historically over the last 1,036 games, in these scenarios, it has been a winning play to take that home side. So that personally is something that I would look at. You guys would have to use this information and decide for yourselves what you think is the right way to go about using this information. And then on to game 1043. This is the last game of today that we are, it's the last game today. It looks like the Seattle Kraken, I believe this is their second home game. They were unfortunately defeated. They were up in that game, and Vancouver was able to come back and beat them in their home opener. You can tell I'm a little bit salty because I had Seattle in that game. Either way, 85% of bets, spread bets, are on Seattle. Unfortunately, we don't have any spread percentage of money information on this game, so we can just ignore that. But we can see anytime there's 85% or more of the spread bets on the home side, it has been a winning play. 7 units and 8.3 units respectively for the Seattle Kraken, or the home team, when they have 85% or more. And then on to the OU percentage of bets, where we can see 47% or less of bets on the under has been a winning play on the under, 3.8 units and 5.9 units respectively. However, we have conflicting data here, because on the OU percentage of money, anytime the over has received 89% or more of the money, we can see 4.8 units and 5.8 units respectively here as a winning play. So we have 2 indicators pointing towards taking the under and 2 indicators pointing towards taking the over in this scenario. And on to the percentage of bets, percentage of money. We can see here 65% of bets on the home team, which is the Seattle Kraken in this example. It has been a winning play of 11 and 8 units respectively. And then on the money line percentage of money, 75% or more bets, 75% or more of the money on the home team has been a winning play for the home team. So as well as the Anaheim markets, this is also a positive expected play. At least historically, it's been a positive expected play for the home team, which is the Seattle Kraken in this example. And their line has also moved from -112 up to -125, which is another nice indicator that the books are a little bit worried about Seattle winning this game. They have moved this line from -112 to -125. Unfortunately, that means if you and I were to bet it now, we'd be getting the worst of that price. Congrats if you were able to get it at -112, much better value. But at -125, you guys can decide whether it's enough of a play to make based off of these markets. 151 games, 311 game samples. But this video has gone pretty long, 22 minutes. We have 7 games. Hopefully, this information is able to help you guys moving forward, help you guys make smarter betting decisions, and hopefully get you guys interested in the betting markets, because I find the betting markets very exciting. I don't know if exciting is the right word, but I find them very valuable to make betting decisions a lot easier for myself. So hopefully you enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this, consider joining Fat Guy and I's YouTube membership. It's $5 a month. We have a Discord, and we talk about these betting markets, and I try to post as many of these betting markets closer to in this case puck drop, because the closer you can get to kind of before puck drop, the more clear these betting markets become, because these percentage of bets and percentage of money can drastically change all the way up to puck drop. So the closer we can get this information at puck drop, the better decisions that we can make using the betting markets, but at the same time just kind of get an idea of where there is value, and then hopefully you could be able to take advantage of early lines like this, like Seattle -112 compared to the -125, which is, if you can combine both those ways of kind of figuring out how the betting market works and predicting how it's going to be at close, and then make that make your bets based off of opening lines, I do feel like that's probably the strongest way. And Fat Guy and I always argue about that, but really it's just about marrying those two ideas, betting early lines with good juice, and using strong betting market data to decide which way it's going to be. Either way, I'm just rambling now. Thanks for watching, guys, and good luck for your plays on October 26th in the NHL.